Investors and traders, welcome to the channel Market Chart Pattern. Today is 28th of May 2025. Hope everyone is having a fantastic day. So we'll take a look at the key markets. It's going to be different to the usual format, shorter video, and I'll also try to cover some of the technology stocks as well. As always, this video is for educational purposes only. It is not a financial advice. I have not been able to make a video over the past weekend, but I did post on Substack. So I would actually recommend that you could join or subscribe to the Substack. That way you will not miss any posts. This is the post done yesterday, and this is just the Substack on marketchartpattern.substack.com, and you'll find the link in the description. So I did post the charts there. Essentially, what we are looking at is basically our timing kicked in yesterday. We did have a nice move higher, and today on the cash closing basis, we're seeing a little bit of a pullback because of Nvidia's earnings, which are out now, and the futures we'll just take a look in a moment. Those have actually recovered, and I would imagine probably likely to rally Thursday morning. Something interesting, just wanted to point out the timing part. 27 to 28th May is when we were looking for it, and with the 1 or 2 trading days on either side of it. Okay, so now let's actually start by taking a look at what the dollar is doing. So there we go. So the dollar is actually, it's gaining a little bit of strength because it closed below the 61.8% retracement, but there was just no follow through. And now it's below the 20-day moving average, so the momentum is to the downside. But two consecutive closing, and especially closing above 61.8% retracement is good. So there is some strength coming into the dollar. Now, 99 to 98 level is really key for the US dollar, and it's just kind of consolidating in that range. It has rallies ABCD there, a deep pullback, and now it's just range bound. But the important thing is that if it breaks below 98, I think then it's what we are looking at is essentially this big ABCD, and this market could come as low as 90.94 actually on the US dollar. Okay, so now on the flip side, if we just take a look at how the Euro USD is doing, there we go. So of course it's finding some a little bit of a resistance here on the weekly basis, but if the dollar does weaken up, we are looking at one spot 1750. Similarly, the GBP USD, there we go. It's consolidating a little bit right here. We have some resistance because of the 1.272 expansion, so it's just consolidating here. It can pull back a little bit, but this market is much stronger than the US dollar. Okay, so now let's take a look at the debt markets. So we'll start by taking a look at the 2-year Treasury note. There we go. This is the towards the shorter end of the curve. So today what we have seen is a slight rally in the market, but essentially it's just range bound market. Now as long as this resistance is held, which in my opinion it has been held, what we are looking for is actually the yields to move lower. Now at this stage it looks quite difficult to even imagine, because we have seen, look, structural support come in here, so double bottom, and then we are looking at a pretty good support around the 3.5% region. But when we were here, this is when we were forecasting this black ABCD, that the yields could fall as low as 3.9%. It was pretty hard to believe, and it took quite a while for this 382 to break over here, but once it did, it was a pretty sharp move to the downside. So it is possible that we could be looking at something like this, where the market is, range bound, is holding the 3.9%, which is essentially 38.2% retracement, right around the 20-day moving average. Once it is able to break below it, then we could see a sharp move lower. So my opinion still is, this is what I'm thinking based on the resistance levels on the chart. The Fed, they might be actually aggressive in cutting rates. So the rates might not come on frequent basis, but it's also possible they can come in a bigger than a usual cut, a lot of 50 basis point rather than 25 basis points, so something like that. And then if we take a look at the TNX, um, which is yeah, we're here we go. So right here, resistance. We have seen the market pull back today. It was at one point rallying quite nicely. I'm meaning the yields were getting higher, but then the sellers came in. So a bit of a wick at the top. So I think the resistance is held, getting below this 20-day moving average will further weaken it. And then if we take a look at the 30-year, yeah, TYX. So there we go. So TYX, slightly different pattern, but essentially we can see key um, the yields were much lower. Yields moved lower here, so below 5%. This is when the panic was coming in because of some failed auction or something like that last week. But now the yields have moved back a little bit, so they are slightly below 5%. At one point, they had shot up than 5%. And then let's take a look at on the futures chart. There we go. This support zone has still held. So this is really key because this is when the downgrade happened by Moody's, but the market is just range bound, so there's a chance. Okay, so now let's take a look at what is happening with the gold market. Real quick look at the gold market. Here we go. So gold, is weaker. It was down by about 0.5% today, or 15 bucks. It's kind of range bound in my opinion. It's hanging around the 20-day moving average. Our key low came in on the 15th of May. That was 61.8% retracement. As long as that is held, it's got a chance to remain like this. Otherwise, if it begins to break below this, especially this trend line, then it's got a chance to move much lower, because we have seen a correction of 10% right here. This correction was 7%. So I think once it is able to, and this correction right here was about 10% as well. So if it breaks this low, this is going to be a move which will be bigger than the 10%, and which means the market is actually changing its characteristics. So it might just not be a pullback, it might be something a little bit different. So meaning that we could see a much larger retracement take place, and then of course we have this kind of trend line right here as well. So it's in a triangle pattern. These resolve eventually, and whenever they resolve on whichever side, it's a pretty dramatic move which takes place. So the breakout is actually quite dramatic. Okay, so now let's go and start to take a look at some of the markets. S&P 500, actually not much has changed. 7th of April low is the key low, and then we had an internal low coming on the 21st of April. So I am actually looking for higher prices as long as the 7th of April low is held. What we have seen is basically an ABCD with 1.272 times the AB leg, and this is why we have seen a little bit of a dip right here. And if we just move this over to the S&P 500 futures, we can see that today the market just consolidated because of the Nvidia's pending results, which are out now, and then of course having a massive day where the market was up 125 points or 2.16%. So after such a big move, not unusual for the market to actually consolidate, and as market is up about 17.5 points after the Nvidia earnings are out. And if we take a look at the NQ is much stronger. It's already trying to break out of this, but it's a similar kind of pattern as well on the futures. CD leg is 1.272 times the AB leg. Now it's just kind of consolidating. Right here on the cash market, it also consolidated, but closing above 1.272. So I think it's going for the highs here, maybe new all-time highs coming soon. This is how I'm looking at this. Price is way above the 20-day moving average, so it's pretty strong. So technology is looking quite good. So now let's switch over and take a look at some of the key technology stocks that we like to follow. So this is the Meta. Meta is one of our favorite technology stocks. Um, it's doing a lot of work in the artificial intelligence side of things. They have a lot of data as well. I think they're quite well positioned, in my opinion. And then, of course, they did a very nice technical pattern ABCD, and it's just gone right at the 61.8%. It's just kind of um, gone into a consolidation right here, but I think eventually it's got a chance to hit this 675 to $680 per share level. And then some news is out where Mark Zuckerberg says that Meta AI has 1 billion monthly active users. That is quite a lot. 1 billion monthly active users. And just by the other entities that Meta owns, such as Instagram, Facebook, then WhatsApp, the number of people who are actually dealing with or sending data, interacting with with this app. It's a tremendous amount of data being generated. AI being available on WhatsApp, for example. It's there's a lot of stuff going on. So I think he has got a strong play on the artificial intelligence, Zuckerberg. Um, and that's when he pivoted. Once he pivoted, right here, let me actually show you. His stock had gone down after the scandal came out by 78.6% retracement. This is when he began to pivot into artificial intelligence, and look, the investors really rewarded him really well. Okay, now let's take a look at Tesla. Here we go. So the Tesla stock, although it's consolidated right here, but it's actually pretty strong. I think it's got a chance to hit $383 per share level. That's going to be the 61.8% retracement. We could see some sort of pullback happen when it reached that level because of the structural resistance, also the 61.8% Fibonacci retracement. This low we had discussed many times. Long-term subscribers will know. So many patterns completing here. It was really strong, and then there was also this gap which got filled, and then market is not able to get below. This is pretty strong. And on the weekly chart, here we go. This is what we are looking at on the weekly chart. I think it needs to get above the 61.8% retracement. Then it's going to be pretty strong. Possibly, as long as this low of 7th of April is held, we are in this blue ABCD structure, so we could be looking at $525. And then on the monthly really long term chart, here we go. Our objective of 500 was reached. It was $488.54, so just missed it by about $12, which is just close enough on a stock which is nearly $500. So we can see another ABCD structure like this, which I've drawn on the weekly chart. So here we go. Could be looking at like this. So around, oh yeah, so on the monthly we could be even looking at, wow, 611. That's when we have the 1.618 expansion. So we already reached the 1.27 to expansion, and that's when we were also completing the ABCD pattern. So strong resistance level, market retraced about 56%, and now I think it's got a chance to hit about 611. And just think about it, this is after the split. So this stock is like, I don't know, if it reaches 600, it's gonna be a $5,000, $6,000 stock before the split if we just adjust for those. So remarkable. And then of course, just speculating, but X and XAI, they have already merged that company, and it's also possible that because there is a lot of focus on artificial intelligence, that combined entity might actually get merged into Tesla. And look, you'll have Tesla, which is producing cars, Optimus. There's a lot of physical artificial intelligence work going on there, and then you have the other side, which is working on sort of a chatbot and developing training big models in XAI. They use that data and combine into one entity, so Tesla becomes like really super powerful. So the cars are really nothing more than a data collector. So what it means is that you can't just price that as a car just based on its hardware. And then of course it doesn't have a combustible engine, it's got an electric engine. So if you're using auto, how you would actually price an auto stock, the valuation for the Tesla stock may be less than $100. But if we begin to actually think of this as a artificial intelligence on the physical side of things, so robotics with Optimus, and then of course the cars collecting so much data, and if the FSD is there, full self-driving mechanism, if he's able to deliver on that, which he says many times is able to actually not be able to do that. It's quite complicated, but the way they collect data is also really important. They're using the actual sensors, excuse me, they are using the cameras to send the images, and they're not using radars and stuff like that in their cars, and it's pretty real time because of the network. And then of course he owns the Starlink as well, so if you look at that way, maybe $1,000 might not be too far-fetched imagination, but technically 611 is something we can actually look forward to. 7th of April low must be held. Okay, so now let's take a look at Microsoft. Here we go. So look on the monthly basis. Wow, I see a gap. Wow, on a monthly basis, it's not something you see that often. It's also doing fantastic work in the artificial intelligence side of things, and this is where I think the investors are also rewarding them. But on the weekly chart, we see it's hitting this all-time highs, getting really close to that. So it's just getting a little toppy, just on the price action basis. And of course, the Nvidia earnings were out, so let's see how it's gonna perform tomorrow. Now let's take a look at Amazon. Here we go. So the Amazon is nowhere near what Microsoft, for example, is doing. So I think it's got on the retail side a pretty big hit, or not a hit, but headwinds coming in from the tariff side of things. So maybe that's a concern. But the 61.8% retracement on the daily chart, this is what is kind of holding it back. Okay, and then if we take a look at Shopify, I'm gonna take a look at this on the weekly chart. Here we go. It's also just consolidating right here. It's got a shot at 144, 145. Maybe by Q4 time it might be able to do that. Then that would also mean it'll be a three drives to a top pattern as well, and we could see a sharp correction happen. Roblox, last but not least. Oh yeah, let's also take a Nvidia. There we go. I think it's got a shot at 95, maybe $100. Roblox has had a really nice recovery. I think it's in this pattern formation, the shaded region, and then finally in Nvidia. There we go. So the Nvidia, of course, the earnings came out, and the earnings seems to be good, because what I'm looking at is the after hours. The stock is up. It's got a pretty strong move. I think it's got a chance to now go and hit this level. Let me actually show it to you. Here we go. I think 171, 175 is where it could go next now, because really nicely it has held this 38.2% retracement. Momentum on the weekly is getting really nice, getting stronger. So I think it's got a chance to first it reached our 155 level, which it reached pretty much exactly, just missing it by a dollar or so. And now I think it can easily go and reach 170. So this is what we are watching in the key technology stocks, and of course the key markets. So if you do want to subscribe to the Substack, it's free. I will be posting, if I'm not able to do a video, I will be posting on Substack, so that way you will not miss any updates. So thank you very much for watching the video. Good luck, good trading, and speak to you guys soon.